Hi everyone. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the annotated reading worksheet, which is an assignment that I use in a lot of my classes. So this is probably applicable to many classes that I'm teaching. The main goal of this assignment is to get you thinking like a political scientist, or in some ways, understand how political scientists think. So the goal of this assignment is for you to kind of read your article and then look for the specific things that are going to help you understand the main points of the assignment of the reading, right? And the goal is that with that you become also a better reader and a faster reader, really, of political science articles or any academic article that has research methods embedded into it. This assignment it can be used for both qualitative and quantitative methods, and I'll talk about more about this in class. Some of the language applies more directly to quantitative methods, but it is also applicable to qualitative methods. So, and I'll talk about this in class and in other videos, depending on the class that you're in, that can help you kind of understand what we're talking about here. Okay. So I'm gonna. It is probably going to be a longer video. I try to keep those videos below 15 minutes. And I think I still probably be able to keep it below 15 minutes. But if I don't, the reason why is because I'm walking you through every single question of this assignment, and also the discussion of the rubric as well. Okay, let's get to it. So here are the main objectives for this assignment. And again, this assignment is an assignment that we're going to use in the research process, but also in throughout the class when we're reading journal articles, academic journal articles or book chapters that use a methodology and use a specific way of asking a question and answering that question in a political science or a social science perspective, because we can also read some sociology, some anthropology, some gender studies stuff that may come up too. So main assignments here, main objectives are practice reading scholar articles. So that's a specific way of reading a scholar article, and I want to help you walk through those, and these assignments really help with that. So you develop an understanding of key aspects of a scholar article, develop the skills needed to better understand arguments in scholar articles, understand hypothesis development and the testing of a hypothesis. This is especially important when you are working your own research project and you want to see what other people are doing, and try to see, okay, what can I borrow from them? What is the way I can adapt their idea of how to ask questions and how to develop hypothesis to my own research, right? Develop the skills needed for the research process. Again, this is in some classes we're going to go deep into this, other classes we're just going to go superficially, but in general we want to keep you practicing this throughout your political science classes, right? And then develop your reading skills that will help you in upper level political science classes in general, and hopefully upper other disciplines as well. And what I call here develop skills needed for focus reading. And what I mean here is that later on, especially when you're doing a research project, you don't need to read the whole article, especially academic articles like the ones we're going to be using for these assignments, right? But you do want to kind of look for specific things in each article. And that's what I call focus reading, where you're not reading the whole article, you're just looking for key ideas that you can use in your own research. Like in most of my assignments, I have a simplified rubric, and the rubric again is more about trying to get the job done than necessarily getting the job done right. Of course, I want you to get the job done well, and I want you to have really good things to talk about in your assignments. But the rubrics are intended to help you understand that it's more important to try than it is to get everything right, right? So just kind of take a look at this rubric here. Answer question one as directed, which is the bibliography question. I'll talk more about it in a second. And a key thing here is attempt to answer every question, right? So have something written on every question. You can even say like, I don't know if I'm getting this right, but here it is, right? And I'll give you some comments if needed. The other thing that on the rubric, make sure to bring citations and quotes, and I ask you to do those things in the questions anyways, but just remember, I want you to also practice good citation, good using quotes in sentences and things like that. One thing, the quotes citations have to follow the same citation style that you use on your first question. And as I talked about before in class, and if I haven't, here it is. I don't care which citation style you use as long as you're consistent with it, right? I just don't like MLA, but if you really want to do MLA, I'm fine with that. So just kind of keep those things in mind as you're doing those things. And then every answer is written in full sentences, forming short paragraphs. And the idea here is that you're also practicing your writing as you go, right? Writing full sentences, writing a paragraph helps you think about the writing process and helps you improve that writing process. But the key here is for you to try it and not perfect it, right? These assignments are low-stake assignments where I'm just trying to get you thinking about those things a little more deeply. All right, so here are question by question next. The first prompt asks you to write a full bibliographic citation, any accepted citation style, Chicago author date style preferred. And Chicago author date style is preferred because that's what in political science we use some different styles, and Chicago is one of them. So that's why I would like you to do Chicago author date style if possible. Many of you are using copy and pasting these citations from different websites or even from the library website. Just be careful because you need to understand what a citation is for, and that's why we use this to practice in this assignment. So I'll give you some pointers when you are, when you copy and pasting things and the things that are coming in are not exactly correct. I'm going to give you some pointers on that. And also going to give you links to where can you see what the moves are being made in a bibliographic citation, so you understand what you're looking for as you keep going as well. So first one, just citation, try to get as correct as you can. So this question, what is the background of the author? What I'm asking for you here is to go online, do a search on Google, look for the author's website. A lot of authors now, a lot of scholars have their own personal websites. You can look at their institutions where they're teaching and doing research. If they have a website. Ideally, looking for their CV, their resume. And looking for some general information that they may appear on the bibliography. And the idea here is this, how is the author a specialist in what they're talking about, right? So see their background, see other articles they wrote, books they wrote, right? We don't have to spend too much time on this. Just spend some time, write a paragraph where you are saying what is the connection between this author, the paper they're writing, and political science more broadly speaking, right? Again, I don't want you to copy and paste things from the internet. I want you to kind of type up things that you find on the internet. This is an informal assignment, there's an informal question, so you can write this in an informal style, so in a way to try to kind of get you away from copying the language that is being used in articles as well. So answer, what's the background of the article, what's their PhD in, where they went to school, things like that, where they're teaching right now, what established their credibility, previous work, research on PhD, position right now, and all that. Who do they speak for? This one is more like, what is the area of research they're speaking for, especially because we are, focusing on academic articles here, right? So just kind of write this, again, this is the idea for you to think about the scholarship as a conversation. So who are they talking to? How are they talking to? There's a good starting point for that conversation. Okay, now we finally get to answering questions about the paper itself, right? So the first question is a simple one, but it can be complicated too depending on the paper. What is the research question? What is the author trying to answer? What is the question that the author is trying to answer, right? Sometimes the author doesn't phrase it in that way. So you have to kind of think about how would you put that as a question, right? So again, what is the dependent variable? What is the outcome they're trying to explain, right? So one thing also, as you're working on this, what I suggest is that you work on this worksheet, on the worksheet that you have, the annotated worksheet, as you read the paper. Don't complete the worksheet after you're done reading. Do the worksheet as you read the paper, because this will help you also understand and get better at looking for the right places. Again, the idea of focus reading, looking for the right points that you want to focus on for a research article. So again, what is the research question? You can bring a quote from there and then try to put that quote, the question in your own words. as you develop this question. Again, a brief paragraph, nothing too elaborate. Really just saying what are they trying to answer? What are the main things they're trying to answer? Okay, next one. So the next three prompts, you want to think about them together, right? So think about these as a complementary to each other, right? And especially this one, for this one, I really want you to just write a couple of sentences. Like, doesn't have to be like a full elaborate paragraph. As your gut instinct, what is the research method, right? So find it somewhere on the paper. Like, okay, it seems that they're using qualitative analysis because they're using interviews. It seems that they're using quantitative analysis because they're doing a regression. They're doing a statistical analysis. Or I feel like they're using mixed methods because they're doing both interviews and interviews and quantitative statistical analysis. So again, for this one, you don't even need to have quotes, citation from the text. What I really want you to do is to just kind of, what is your gut instinct? What is the broad method that they're using in this paper? So for this one, this is the only one that is not a paragraph long. You're just going to write like the concept, how they're measuring, and what is the question, kind of how are they kind of using that concept to measure something. What is the question they're trying to get to it, right? This one is a hard one. So this one takes practice. Some papers, of course, it's pretty easy to see what the question is, but sometimes the question is not. These explanations, the independent variables are not as clear. This is one that I'm not going to spend too much time here talking about this, but I will spend time in class walking through some of these ideas, and then whenever you respond to this, I will give you some comments on this as well, more detailed comments on this to help you kind of find the concept, the measurement, and the hypothesis, because that is key to being a good political scientist, to be a good researcher. It's like conceptualizing, measuring, hypothesizing. So, but we'll talk more about this in class because I don't want to spend too much time in this. This is already kind of getting to be a long video, and I want to keep your attention span. Oh, squirrel. So in this question, I'm asking you to revisit the previous question that you had, which was like, is this qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods, right? And then here I want you to specify. So first you're going to type the question first, answer the question first. And then here I want you to specify what is the kind of methods, how exactly they're using these tools to answer the question, and so build up from the previous prompt as well in terms of this idea of concepts, measurements, and hypothesis, right? So this one is a little more detailed. So that's why I say think about these three questions as part of like as part of its own kind of a way of thinking about this assignment and thinking about the papers that you're reading as well. And spend some time on this one, kind of bringing quotes in, trying to be more specific about what are they doing, what are the methodological tools they're using to answer the questions that they are answering. This question you may have answered already when you were answering the last three questions. So you can repeat the information or even copy and paste from previous answers if you already have it, right? So, but this question is, what kinds of data did the researchers collect and how did they collect it, right? So again, as you practice this, as you keep working on this kinds of worksheets, you're gonna get better at this too, identifying the data really quickly, and then seeing like, was it collected? Did they borrow from somebody? Is it a survey data from somewhere? So that's what I want you to do in this class on this question. Identify exactly how they got to the data that they use to ask the questions that they're asking. This question is pretty straightforward. What are their findings, conclusions? What additional research do they suggest? Because a lot of times researchers are suggesting better ways of different data sets to use and things like that. And then do they make any policy proposals based on their findings? So here, of course, I want your words for this, but this is a good question a good answer to bring some quotes from the text. So ideally you bring a quote from each, if you have findings, conclusions, here's what they found, and put in your own words. Here's what they said, and then put in your own words, or even just kind of bring the additional research from the article. And then do they make any policy proposals? Same thing. You can quote and then bring your own words. And again, we'll practice this as we keep going in the semester. So this one hopefully will become second nature. You're always going to be able to find this one as a focus reading as quick as you can. So this is the last question, and here it really is like this is a very informal question as well. Were there any other aspects of the article you found particularly interesting or surprising? So again, you can of course bring quotes if you want, but you can just really kind of say that it was interesting when they talk about this or how they talked about this, right? Something like that. And then anything you think will be useful for your as you move forward with your research. And again, this is depends on the class, of course. Some classes you're going to be working deeply on a research project. Some of those is more of a broad discussion. So think about this, and then same thing for the second question. The second and third question here can kind of get together. So anything you think about for your research or future research possibilities, just think about that. Like what are some things that were interesting here that you think you would like to learn more about, right? And I've had students put this, and I'm really fine with it. If you say, hey, this article was kind of weird, or whatever, and I didn't get a whole lot out of it. I got these ideas from it, but I didn't get a lot that I think I think I want to follow through in my own research. That's fine. So again, the idea here is that you answer every question, and you're thinking about this every question. For every question, think about the process of research and your own process of research and your own interests, but also thinking about this in this context of research projects in this class. So yeah, this is the last question for this annotated reading worksheet. So remember, the idea here is to help you get better at focusing when you read research articles, and help you think about your own research that we hope you are, especially if you're a political science major, that you are going to be doing as you keep going. And how to connect ideas that may not have been very clear earlier. They're connectable, right? Both, in this class that you're taking with me and with other classes that you're taking with other professors, even in other departments, but especially in the IR comparative classes that you take here at CSBSJU. Okay, so that was this for this video. I went a little over the 15 minutes that I like to keep those videos under. So I will stop talking right now, and I'll see you in class.